everyone, so I just wanted to make a YouTube video for you in case you missed the lessons on on exponent properties. So the first property that we're going to talk about is the negative property. So basically, if there's a negative number in the exponent, that means you're going to put 1 over and make the expression positive. So for example, if you have 37 to the negative 23rd, we're going to put 1 over and simply make it 37 to the positive 23rd. Even if we're going backwards, 1 over 23 to the 4th would turn into 23 to the negative 4th. So just keep that in mind throughout these lessons. Also, when you're doing exponents on the IXL, I'm not on that section, but we still have the option for an exponent. So to enter an exponent, for example, if I wanted to do 23 to the negative 4th, I would type 23 on my keyboard, and then you would click this button, and then you could type negative 4 if you needed to. The other way to do that is to type 23, and then you want to hold down this key, see how there's a caret there, that key, and shift at the same time. That will also bring you up to the exponent. So see how it moved up to the exponent there on IXL. So just be careful when you're doing those, that way you don't get them wrong by accident. Okay, next property we have is when we have expressions that are multiplied. So let's discover a rule. X to the a times x to the b. So when in doubt, write it out. So we're going to do the first example by writing it out. X to the third times x squared is, x to the third is it times itself 3 times. X squared is times itself twice. So there's x to the third, x squared, and then count how many you have. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. X to the fifth. And then if you notice what happened, we added 3 and 2 to get 5. So when you're multiplying with exponents, you're adding the exponents. So x to the a times x to the b is x to the a plus b. Once you know the rule, you do not have to write it out every time, especially for some of these that are pretty long. Even the next one, y to the 10th times y to the negative 30th. Definitely don't want to write that out, so just add the exponents. So 10 plus negative 30 is negative 20. So it will be y to the negative 20th, which, remember, when it's negative, that means put 1 over and make it positive for your final answer. Y to the 0 times y to the 11th. 0 plus 11 is just 11, so it's y to the 11th. And then we have q to the 9th times q to the 0. 9 plus 0 so far is 9. And then we have to subtract 10, so it would be q to the negative first, which again, when it's negative power, you're going to write 1 over and make it positive. You don't have to write first when it's to the first power. I just want to do one other quick example to the side with you. So even if you have 3 of them, like x to the 5th times x to the 7th times x to the 20th, you would just add all those exponents up. So it would be x to the, that would be 12, and 20 is 32, x to the 32nd. Okay, when you have x to the a over x to the b is our next property. So when you're dividing, let's do the first example by writing it out. So we have 6 x's on top and 4 on the bottom. But once you know the rule, you do not have to write it out every single time. So there's your top, and then we need 4 on the bottom. And then cross them off when they cancel out to 1. So there's 1 pair. Looks like 4 of them cancel out. We're left with just 2 x's, which means x squared. So if you notice the relationship here, 6 minus 4 is 2. So when you're dividing, you're just subtracting the exponents. So x to the a over x to the b is x to the a minus b power. So we'll do a few examples. So p to the 20th over p to the 2nd, I certainly don't want to write out p 20 times on the top, but I do know that 2 of them will cancel out. 20 take away 2 is 18, so this will be p to the 18th. Same thing here, we don't want to write it 900 or 100 times, but we know that 100 of them will cancel out from 900, leaving us with 800 left over. And then This one, 3 minus 7, is going to leave us with r to the negative 4th. So remember, when it's negative, we're going to make it 1 over and make it positive. Even for this one, if you were to write it out, you have 3 on the top, right? 7 on the bottom. You should notice that 1, 2, 3 cancel out. You're left with 1 on the top, and 1, 2, 3, 4 r to the 4th in the bottom. So you can always do it that way as well, but when the numbers are big, you don't really want to write it out every time. So one more, r to the 9th over r to the 12th. So we're going to do 9 minus 12, which is negative 3. And then to make it a positive exponent, we're going to just put it on the bottom with 1 on the top. 1 over r to the 3rd. Of course, if you have questions on any of these, just email us, or you can always schedule a time to Zoom with us. And I forgot to actually mention in the multiplication ones, what would x to the 0 power be? So looking back at these, see how like when we had the 0 power times 11, we just have y to the 11th? Basically, this is like multiplying by 1, right? Same thing here. We didn't really have to do anything with adding 0, it just is 1. So anything to the 0 power, I'm sorry I forgot to mention, is 1. All right, now we have power to a power property. So x to the a to the b. Again, we're going to do the first one by writing it out, and then we will use our rule. So x squared to the 3rd basically means x times itself 3 times. And then we'll count how many we have overall. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 x's, which gives us x to the 6th. So you'll see in this property, when you have a power to a power, like outside of the parentheses, you're just multiplying the numbers. 2 times 3 is 6. So this is going to be x to the a times b. We'll do a bunch of these. So b to the 4th to the negative 10 would be b to the negative 40th. But again, when it's negative, make it 1 over b to the positive 40th. You can even do it with two variables. So we can multiply this in. A to the 2 times 7 would be 14. B to the 5 times 7 would be 35. We don't have to simplify anymore in that one. Next we have p to the 2, and then we're going to multiply by negative 7, which gives us negative 14. Again, make that 1 over and make it positive. And same thing with this one. So it will be n to the negative 30th, 5 times 6. But we have to make it positive, so 1 over n to the 30th for our final answer. And finally, we're going to do some where you have multiplication and division combined. So you always want to just simplify the top and the bottom as much as possible first, and then go from there. So in the top, we're multiplying. Remember that rule is to add the exponents. So we have z to the 11th over z to the negative 10th. And then we're subtracting. So in this one, we're going to be doing 11 minus negative 10. So minus negative becomes plus, right? So your final answer would be z to the 21st. Okay, our next one, let's simplify top and bottom first. So h to the negative 2 plus negative 3 would be negative 5 in the top over 4 plus 8 would be 12 in the bottom. Then we want the variable only once for all of these problems. And for this problem, we have to do negative 5 minus 12 because it's division. And that would give us negative 17. And again, when the exponent's negative, you can make it positive by just putting it under 1. And finally, this one we can't simplify the top, so we'll leave it for now. In the bottom, 7 and 2 would be 9. Then we want the variable only once, so let's go one more time. Use our division property. 3 minus 9 is negative 6. And we do have one more step just to put it positive under 1. So that's all that we'll be doing for the exponent properties, most likely. So if you have any questions, just reach out. Have a great day.